Hello and welcome to yet another Firearm Freedom YouTube live stream. I am switching up the atmosphere just a little bit as far as the backdrop of this live stream. You guys know I normally do them with a kind of studio look behind it with white backdrops and different things like that. I wanted to try out something a little bit new, and I'll be completely honest with you. I'm probably not going to do this again, and here's the only reason why. I did this setup, as you are seeing right now, in a video that is actually only available on my Subscribe account. So if you guys do want to see the Subscribe account and see that exclusive video, I'm starting a new series over there called FF Recap. And that recap series is basically me critiquing my own videos, commentary, watching it, while you guys are watching that video, and it's a lot of fun. But long story short, I tried something new in that video where I was sitting here at my editing desk and I had this light going on, and because I was doing it with my Sony camera, it looked pretty freaking incredible because it was like just me lit up and everything behind me was black. It looked great. It was super cinematic looking and awesome. But because I didn't really think this through with my iPhone camera, because I do these live streams with my iPhone, I thought it would kind of have the same effect. But unfortunately, you guys can see all this, like who wants to see all this stuff in the back? You know what I mean? I have like insulation hanging down and cabinets and everything like that. So we probably won't do this again. Just know it wasn't out of pure laziness that I was not in the regular filming studio. It was just because I wanted to get a cool look. It just didn't turn out that way, so hopefully you guys can understand. KC, what is up? Christian, what is going on, man? From Montana, J. Albert Woodard, what is going on, man? Thank you for tuning in all the way from Montana. KC, honestly, I really don't mind the background at all. Well, let me know, guys, if you guys want me to, kind of keep it up in this layout that we have going on here. Let me know, and, we can go from there. I just don't really know how it's going to look overall, but, we will see. Hopefully, we don't have a lot of background noise from that fan going on over there. Guys, please let me know in the audio if you hear a fan in the background. I forgot to turn that off while I was doing this new lighting and everything like that. So if you hear the fan, if it's annoying, let me know down in the comments and I can run over there and turn it off quickly. Live. We are just all over the place in this live stream, apparently, so I am sorry about that. But quickly, guys, while everybody is getting in on this stream, you guys know how we roll. At this point, I give you guys kind of an idea on where you can support the channel and everything like that while the live streams are starting up for the first good 5 minutes, and everything like that. Well, I'll tell you what, man, give me 2 seconds here. We're going to do this live and hope for the best. You guys probably aren't going to be able to hear me too well. I'm going to talk louder. 2 seconds. We are good to go. We are good to go. I'll talk quietly. Put this back on. Sorry, guys. I could have sworn. And there we go. I could have sworn that I had turned that off, but I guess I didn't. So, yeah, we now have the Firearm Freedom Subscribe account that is live. I just finally figured out what is going to be mainly produced on that Subscribe account. And on that Subscribe account, it is going to be fitness-related content as far as advice. So a lot of you guys ask me for personal training advice and different things like that. So that is going to be available just for the purchase of the Subscribe monthly amount. So there's going to be no additional amount or anything like that in order to get any sort of fitness advice from me. And then on top of that, we are hosting an entirely new series called FF Recap, and that is going to be specific to Subscribe. I just touched on that for a bit, talking about the lighting. But FF Recap is a new series that I'm going to be introducing and have introduced over on the Subscribe account, where I look over any sort of old videos or anything like that on my channel and basically just critique them and it's a lot of fun. So if you guys want to check out that, definitely head over to the subscribe star after the live stream ends. Basically, all the links will be down in the description. You guys know how we roll. We also have links down there for the Firearm Freedom merchandise store. So if you're not about the subscribe star, but you would still like a way to support the channel, definitely head over to the Firearm Freedom merch store because you can get yourself some pretty awesome merch, and that really helps me out as well. We have links down there for the Discord, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram account. Give those a follow, whatever one you want to check out. We got some awesome content over there. And guys, YouTube continues to censor all gun channels right now, and they are doing it harder and harder pretty much every week that goes by. So make sure you are still subscribed to my account by hitting that subscribe button, ringing the bell, hitting the like button. And truly, guys, anybody that's watching this right now or watching this after the fact, comments really do help out down below. So if you want to comment, let me know how you like this live stream, or comment on other videos and everything like that. Definitely comment down below, because that interaction, likes, different things like that really does help kind of boost the video up a little bit more than if there is nothing going on down below. Let me just catch up with everything going on here. Okay, let's see what we got here. Put the mic closer to your neck and it'll sound better. Well, honestly, man, so I don't have an LAV mic hooked up right now. This is just a mic connecting to my iPhone. So the downfall with this mic is that I found I was getting a lot of spiking after the fact of the audio. So let me know if this is too low, but what I found is that if it was up where it would normally be for an LAV mic, and you guys will probably hear this coming through now, when I would turn down or up or something like that, I would get way spikes in the audio, so that's why I have it a little bit further down. BC, thank you, man. Andrew, what is up? Kyle Rittenhouse did nothing wrong. I would agree, that seemed relatively justified, but, you know, well, not relatively, it seemed justified to me. Come on, you have industry insider info. When are we going to see ammo prices go down? Doc B, we can talk about that for sure today. Everything had to predict. Censorship is corrupt. Censorship is corrupt government acting as bully, trying to control everyone. I would agree, for sure. All right, guys, so let's dig into the meat, as always, of these live streams. We have probably about everybody that's getting in here, at least for the first part, getting in. This is going to be a Q&A. I wanted to do it a little bit different. So you guys know that around bi-weekly, so every 2 weeks, we like to do kind of a gun industry update here on these live streams. You guys know I work not only as a full-time YouTuber and everything like that here, doing content and stuff like that, but I also have a full-time job as an assistant store manager in a gun shop, and I am working there all week long, and I get a lot of information on what's going on, what the climate's like every single day at the shop, and I really was liking giving you guys weekly updates or bi-weekly updates as just overall how the gun industry is doing, what has changed, and everything like that. I wanted to switch this gun industry update around just a little bit because I wanted to actually make it more of a Q&A. So if you guys had questions specifically relating to the gun industry or other questions as well, I wanted to dig into those a little bit more because I wanted to make sure that I was not getting just repetitive, just continuing on with the same thing. Ammo's hard to find, you know, whatever else, if you guys did not necessarily want to hear that. While you guys are thinking about questions, I did get a question in last week's live stream that I wanted to answer in this week's live stream. So to the person that asked this question, hopefully you're watching right now or you watch after the fact and I can help you out a bit. But I had a question in regards to firearm storage within the home. So there's a lot of new gun owners out there, and I'm sure there's a lot of new gun owners that are watching these live streams, maybe not, but a lot of questions were coming in, including this question about safe storage. What do you want as far as a safe storing your firearms? Do you want a safe? Situationally dependent. We're going to dig into that right now. So when it comes down to safes for firearms, I have some safes here in the Firearm Freedom compound, but a lot of my defensive guns are not in them when I am in the home. So I think it goes without saying, this is kind of a common sense answer here, but when you have a gun that is set up for defense, just bear in mind that every single time you put that gun in another layer that maybe keeps somebody that's in your house, little ones running around, whatever else, every time you put that gun in another layer that protects the gun from them getting their hands on it, it becomes harder to get to if you need it in a self-defense, home invasion situation, whatever else. So you got to kind of play a little game with figuring out what way is going to be secure away from loved ones in your home and allow them to not have access to it at all times, but you still having quick access to that gun. So in this case, me and Mrs. Freedom, we don't have loved one or little ones running around the house yet. So we don't have to be quite as cautious as to where a gun is. So quite frankly, there's pretty much a gun at every little spot of the Firearm Freedom compound that I could grab immediately for a self-defense situation. Now, many people out there cannot do that. They have little ones running around the house that are maybe too young to even understand firearm safety yet, so they really need to be careful. Obviously, keeping your firearm away, out of sight, up on top of a kitchen cabinet or something like that may be as good of an option as you need. You might not need some sort of a small access pistol safe or something like that. If you only have a handgun and you really need to keep that secure away from loved ones in the home, then you may want to consider a quick access safe. Now, when you look at quick access safes, a lot of people look at the super fancy, techie, RFID scanning, biometric, thumbprint, whatever, quick access safes. And what I will tell you guys is I would absolutely not recommend those safes. I can't tell you how many times that I have been demoing electronic safes, or at a shop that I may have worked at, they might have had a electronic safe where we kept other items of the shop or whatever. And I can't tell you how many times those electronics failed. Now, obviously, they never failed in a defensive situation, but they fail all the time. Batteries die, stuff stops working, biometric stuff doesn't really work right, RFID stuff doesn't really work right. That happens all of the time. I can tell you what I've seen fail a lot less is a mechanical system. What I would recommend personally for a quick access pistol safe is a mechanical system, not electronic, and possibly something where you put in a button combination where you press in a certain key of buttons, which unlocks the safe. Now, it looks a lot like an electronic lock, but it is not an electronic lock. I believe Liberty makes a couple of those guys, and there's a couple other big players that make those safes, and I am a big fan of those if you have to have them in a defensive situation. But obviously, the most ideal while you're in your house is to not have that gun locked up, so that way if somebody splinters in your door in the middle of the night, you're not fumbling with anything. You grab the gun, it's loaded up, chambered, good to go, and you can just grab that gun and protect yourself, protect your family, and whatever else. Moving forward from that, you may want to consider other types of storage when it comes to a collection of firearms. This type of storage may be a large safe. It may be a gun room. It might be something else. It all depends on the type of collection that you have. Why might you want to consider a safe just by, instead of throwing them in a room or something like that, is because you are not in your house at all times. So ideally, to protect your investment and everything like that, it's a good idea to have them in a safe for those times that you leave the house as more of a deterrent for somebody taking those guns. Now, I'm going to kind of rip the lid off of this really quickly. A lot of people think a safe is impenetrable, right? They spend a lot of money on a safe. They think there is no way humanly possible to get into a safe. I got news for you guys. Most safes out there on the market can be broken into relatively easily with a grinder tool cutting into the side of the safe. Just is what it is. Does that mean you should not get a really nice, big, high-quality safe? No, not at all. In fact, I would still recommend getting a nice, big, high-quality safe. It's just something to realize that these safes are not impenetrable, right? They can be broken into relatively easily. What these safes are is a visual deterrent, right? For the most part, when people are breaking into your house in the middle of the day, they want to get your stuff, but it's more so a grab and go. Somebody that's going to break into that safe, they need to know the safe. They need to know that you already have that safe and what type of safe it is. They need to have tools, knowledge, time, and noise reduction ability overall to accomplish that job. And that's a lot easier said than done when it comes to just being your everyday burglar and rolling around and seeing a massive safe that they're going to have to work on. Most of the time they see something like that, they don't even try. They just head over, grab all the valuables, whatever else, and leave. Doesn't happen that way all the time. Depends on where you live, situationally dependent, whatever. But it's a good idea to have that safe. You can look at fireproofing as well. Having a larger safe, fireproofing is great. It's going to help you insure some of your collection. A lot of insurance companies out there generally don't insure firearms, or if they do, your rates go through the roof because you're higher risk when it comes to their scale of whatever they go off of. So having a safe that's fireproofed and has good fireproofing can really help you out. I would personally recommend looking into Champion safes. I think Champion safes are pretty solid. Liberty safes seem to be pretty good as well, but Liberty now outsources a lot of the materials when it comes to steels, and I've heard that the imported steels that they use are not quite as strong as they used to be. And just know that when it comes to the safe door, that is the strongest part of the safe. Now, when I'm looking at a big safe, I also want that to be mechanical. I do not want any sort of electronic stuff or anything like that. I want that to be mechanical. It's a lot slower, a little bit old school, but I'm not looking for that to be a quick access option. This large safe is just simply for the collection of firearms that you were to have. So I don't care if that's quick access. I just want that to be reliable to get into no matter what. I don't want it to run out of battery, whatever else. So when we're looking at something like that, Champion offers great options. Something else I would advise against, if you have a larger collection, just understand right off the bat that these safes, whatever number they say they have, if it's a 25 gun safe, if it's a 20 gun safe, if it's a 15 gun safe, it is in reality going to be half of that size when you're looking at actually fitting things in there, especially when you're looking to actually fit modern carbines in there. So when you're looking to fit ARs, AKs, whatever else, you're not going to be able to fit 25 guns in a 25 gun safe. It's just not going to happen. Cut that number in half. When you are looking at a safe as well, a lot of the higher end stuff is going to come with really intricate, you can put all this stuff and shelving and there's ammo, whatever. I personally rip all of that out and I just stack things one on top of the other. Yes, you got to be more careful that stuff is going to get scratched or something like that. Just understand that you got to be more careful, but that's the only way that you're going to fit a large amount of guns in that safe. I don't really care how pretty it looks. I'm just trying to get everything in there so that I have fire protection and theft protection. So it is what it is, and that's what I would recommend. But also, a lot of people want to go with a ginormous safe, like an 80, a 90, 100 gun safe that weighs 1,000 plus pounds. I would never recommend going with this, and let me tell you why. So when you're looking at a large safe, right, you're not going to be able to move it easily. It is going to be a royal pain whenever you decide to move out of the location that you're currently in. You never know. You could always consider moving, and it is rough to try to place that safe wherever you want to place it in your home. I would much more advise 2, 3, maybe even 4 smaller safes, 20, 25 gun safes, 15 gun safes, whatever else, that are 400 to 500 pounds a piece, and getting multiple of those. A lot of the time, the price point is going to be about the same, and ultimately, you can move those a lot easier, literally by yourself with a dolly or something like that, dragging them around the house, whatever. You get water damage in that specific spot of the house, go ahead, crank it up on a dolly, move it away. You're good to go. You get water damage where there's a 1,100 pound safe, it's going to be a lot harder to move that. Understand as well that with the smaller safes, it is easier to tip them over on their side, which is a technique that criminals use to actually break into those safes. So just understand that. But generally, that's what I would recommend. And on top of that, the last point that I'll make before we start getting into other people's questions, a lot of people ask me, well, I have little ones in the home. What should I do to protect the little ones from getting to the stuff? Here's the deal, guys, and this is more of an opinion that I have, but personally, I would say your first line of defense when it comes to protecting small loved ones in your home from getting to a firearm that they should not be getting to is firearms education. You should be teaching them the firearm safety commandments from as small as they can possibly understand it. You should be taking them to the range with you, showing them how to shoot, showing them how to use a gun safely, because ultimately that does, in my opinion, what gets rid of the big red button theory, where they think this thing is super taboo. They've never seen it before. They know there's a gun in the house. They don't know how to be safe with it, and they just want to press the big red button. Firearms education can really help with that. I grew up, how many of you guys probably grew up, where there was pretty much a long gun in the corner of every part of the house, not locked up, nothing like that for my entire life. We never had an issue. I never went near it. I learned firearm safety from a very young age, and we just knew not to touch that unless there was an adult taking us out to shoot it. So with that being said, I think firearm safety can really, really help out, and that'll be kind of the last thing I say when it goes to the safe question. But I hope that helps some of you out. I hope that gives some of you guys a little bit more information to bring to people who are brand new into the industry and, can kind of help them up. Let me see, guys. Hold on. Sorry, guys. I'm reading through everybody's questions here. I bought a Vortex Strike Eagle 1-6. What do you think of this entry-level LPVO? Any tips with setting up using cleaning solutions? Yeah, so the Vortex Strike Eagle KC, that's a great optic choice. Is it entry level? Yes, but to be honest with you, it's a very, very solid optic. I don't see any issues. Generally, the Strike Eagles are second focal plane, so just be aware of the differences there. Obviously, you probably are going to be. As far as cleaning solutions, generally speaking, you don't want to get really any solvents on an optic. It's just not the way you're going to want to roll. For lens cleaning, I would personally recommend the Leopold lens cleaner kit. It comes in this little lens cleaning pen and a cloth and different things like that. And personally, I think that's a very solid kit. I use that for cameras, gear, optics, whatever else. But yeah, for a low power variable optic, I think that's a great option. Do you know anything about 6-point SPC in AR-15 versus 6.5 in AR-10 platforms for military use? To be honest with you, man, I don't really dig into 6.8 SPC that much. It's an interesting cartridge. Compared to 6.5, there's definitely some differences with 6.5. 6.5 Creedmoor has been around for a little bit more, so I think you might be seeing a little bit more ammunition availability. But 6.8, I think it's going to come up probably about like 6.5 Creedmoor has. I think throughout the years, you're going to see more manufacturers make different loads for 6.8 SPC. I've been hearing some really good stuff about it, but to be honest with you, I don't have as much experience with that cartridge to really give you like kind of my full thoughts at this point. Good call on the biometrics. Biometrics, RFID, can't trust that stuff. Mechanical is the right call. BC, I would agree 100%, man. Mechanical is the way to go when it comes to safes. Also, what is a good way to set up a safe and legal shooting berm or bullet trap at home? In case the ranges close again from the pandemic or other related issues. Doc, that's a great question, man. Personally, when it comes to shooting on your own property, each and every county that you are in with your state in particular is going to have different rules when it comes to this. If you live in the absolute middle of nowhere, the closest person near you is a mile away, obviously you're probably not going to have too many issues other than maybe if somebody gets a little bit annoyed with noise complaints. When it comes to shooting into a berm on your property, a couple things are going to come into play. generally how far away you are from local areas. So how far away you are from a city, are you within city limits, how far away you are from your neighbors, and how far away you are from the actual road in front of your property. So that's a big deal. A lot of that comes into play. Moving forward from that, if you are outside city limits, if you do not have close proximity to your neighbors, if you're far away from the road where the area that you're going to be shooting is, from there, generally it comes down to if you have something set up that is going to catch the bullet and you have a proper backstop. After you have all those bases covered, generally you're good to go to shoot on your property. Now, with that being said, there's a lot of the time that in your county that you're in, they do not allow the discharge of firearms. That happens a ton, and if that's the case, you're going to be kind of out of luck. When it comes to getting a bullet trap or something like that within your home, I would say it's a little bit more gray. I mean, when it's in your home, if it's properly soundproofed and you have a bullet trap, you know, I don't really know if necessarily anybody would know. You know, I think there's ways to soundproof definitely a small room in a basement or something like that. And you can get what's called snails, which is like a bullet trap that a lot of gunsmiths and stuff like that use where you don't have a whole range accessible. Now, with that being said, you are not like shooting with a snail. You are putting a gun in the snail, in the muzzle, and it's really just for test fire. You are dumping a couple rounds into the snail, but this is not what you would use for actual practice or anything like that. It's just used for really gunsmithing, and that's about it. So, you know, that shooting in the home, that's a little bit more of a tough question to answer. But as far as shooting, you know, on your land, stuff like that, hopefully that helped you out. Hunter, what is up, man? Thanks for tuning in. A safe is a good place to put ammo and a pistol. Yeah, for sure. You know, you can definitely put ammo in a safe as well. You know, unfortunately, if you have a larger collection, generally speaking, you're going to be trying to put as many guns in the safe as possible. And a lot of the times you're just not going to have room for the ammo, and you're going to have another area to store ammunition. It's all situationally dependent with what you have. There's an amazing gun safe video from Weapons Education. It's great for those that need honest and quality info on safes and what to get. BC, thanks for the recommendation, man. Jay, I already answered that 6.8 question for you a little bit earlier. I hope that answered it well for you. Great channel is the SP5 and SBR. Can I just buy it at an FFL? 80s Warrior, first of all, solid channel name, is the SP5 and SBR. The SP5, which is an HK MP5 variation, basically, it is a semi-auto pistol. So H&K ships the SP5 as a pistol. It is not a short-barreled rifle, and yes, you can pick that up at an FFL. The only time that this would not apply is if somebody already made their SP5 into an SBR and then sold it on the used market. And then, obviously, in that case, it would be an SBR. Now, with that being said, unfortunately, finding an SP5 right now is very, very, very difficult. It is not easy to find SP5s. I know the shop that I work at is hooked up directly with H&K, and I can tell you guys, as a direct dealer for H&K, it is very, very, very difficult to find an SP5. I think we have a wait list of like 10 people. Really, really tough to find them. I just want to catch up here on the questions. Man, we got a lot of questions. Thank you, guys. SP5 is not an SPR until you put a stock on it. Absolutely, KC. Hunter, FF doesn't care about scratches. He likes using his guns. He ain't no boomer. I mean, some guns I do care about scratches. It's just, you know, a lot of the time I just really want to get them in the safe. Region 1 Resistance. Hello and welcome to you too, my friend. Does Jay got another 6.8 SPC question? Hopefully that first one answered it for you. Does it really matter whether the rifles in a safe are stored muzzle up versus muzzle down? A FUD once told me that muzzle up storage leads to oil and dust pulled into the action over time by gravity. Doc. So here's what I'm going to say to that. It depends if, so a couple points to make there. How much oil are you putting in your gun that it's actually pooling in a breech over time? How long are you letting each of your guns sit for that amount of time without touching them? Do you store them muzzle down and the oil drips downward? Maybe, but quite frankly, I don't know how often oil is pooling, because really you should have a thin coat of oil, and that thin coat of oil really kind of sucks up into the metal and is not really pooling. It's not really like staying as beads on the outside and just drip all the way down. I can tell you that I've stored my guns in my safe muzzle up pretty much the entire time that I've owned guns. I've never had an issue at all. The only time this might not apply is with an older military surplus firearm if you are worried about a wood stock. If you're worried about the wood stock soaking up oil into the stock, that's a little bit of a different story, because yes, that can happen with stocks. With getting oil into a breech, that just creates more annoying cleaning later on. But getting oil into an older stock and having the oil all soaked to the bottom of the stock, that can be a little bit of an issue. So when it comes to military surplus, if you did want to store them muzzle down, that's a possibility as well. But ultimately, just take your guns out of the safe every now and again. Make sure you got proper maintenance going on. Make sure you're looking at them and everything like that. Andrew, thoughts on the Remington bankruptcy and buyout? Andrew, honestly, I'm very excited about it. I think Remington has been really kind of crapping out for a very long time, and I'm hoping that maybe all the companies, PSA, the company that owns PSA, that was who really struck a chord with everybody from buying Remington out. But there are many other companies buying Remington out, and PSA is definitely really cool. But with that being said, there are other companies that's very exciting as well. So I think a lot of good things are actually going to come from this. I think we're actually going to see a jump in quality control from these companies, which is great. And I'm excited about it. I'm pretty excited. I don't want to say anything further until, more information surfaces, but I'm excited at this point. There's going to be gunpowder and dirt in it when you go shooting, so it doesn't matter. Always check your gun before shooting it anyways. Hunter, great point. Absolutely. Leopold lens cleaner kit. Awesome. Thanks. Absolutely, KC. It's a great kit. I just popped a 1-4 Condor on my RDB. Solid. Does anyone know of a Magwell option for a Browning Buckmark pistol? KC, off the top of my head, I don't know of any by name, but I can tell you there are a bunch of accessories for the Buckmark, so I would personally just give it a Google, because chances are something is going to pop up for an enlarged Magwell for the Buckmark. Man, slowly getting down the list. Make sure you shoot dead straight down a snail trap. Blew the side out of one once. Not a good time. Andrew, you're very right. Snail traps, they can get a little bit sketchy, so just be aware of that if you're getting one for your house. Tacos or fajitas? Oof. I think I would have to go fajitas. I don't know, man. That's a tough one. Anyone able to find AR or AK anywhere? Everything good is still out of stock. Hunter, yes. Just yes, overall. ARs are getting harder to find by the day. AKs have been unobtainium for the last month. However, Palmetto State still has variations of their AK Gen 3 that comes into stock. With that being said, that's a phenomenal choice for an AK, and I would not hesitate at all. So finding a Palmetto State AK and 7.62 by 39 ammunition is still somewhat available. That would be a really good option. I've been noticing on Palmetto State's website that their prices have slightly gone up, but with that being said, stuff is still relatively in stock on their website when it comes to ARs as well. So take a look there. As far as anything else, the stock is all over the place. Hunter, been seeing ARs here and there, mostly weird brands, but occasionally Smith & Wesson or a Saint. Only AKs I've seen are the very occasional Century. Andrew, that's a great point. Saw Ruger was buying Marlin. Extremely excited for that. Griff, I am incredibly excited for that. I think we are going to see major QC increases from Marlin. I think we're going to be seeing really cool stuff from Ruger as well. Bunch of really interesting stuff coming for lever guns, in my opinion. I'm very excited for that buyout. I don't think I was really disappointed at all with any of these companies being bought out. I think all of it is good stuff, so solid. Do you know anything about the Dragunov knockoffs? If you're talking about the Yugo variations, I've seen relatively good stuff from them. I just really don't like the price point that they're at. I would say probably the best option right now is like a PSL Romanian or something like that. One of the Romanian offerings that, it looks a lot like a Dragunov but is not. I don't know. That would be my offering that I would want to go with, but I'm not really drawn to them that much. I think they're really cool. I just don't know, how much of a draw there is there for me, but they are pretty cool. Thanks for the answer, my friend. I have a DE. I didn't clean it after I used it about 2 years ago. Went to use it, and the slide is not moving. Do you have any advice? There may be some oil gummed up or seized. You could see if you can find a buddy with an ultrasonic cleaner and just drop the whole thing in an ultrasonic cleaner and see what the deal is there. Make sure, obviously, before you do that there's not live ammunition in the gun. Chances are something is probably seized up and stuck, but if you put it in an ultrasonic cleaner and it still does not come apart, then chances are you are probably having a spring or something like that in the gun that's actually broken and preventing the slide from moving at all, because that's happened to me as well. Hunter, great stream, man. Glad I got to swing by. Finally, keep up the good work. Hunter, thank you, man. I really appreciate it. Smith & Wesson Sport 2 for $7.99. About what you're seeing them going for now. Any unobtainium AK industry brand rifles to absolutely avoid besides IO Inc. Absolutely. So I would absolutely avoid IO like the plague. I would not go near any of their firearms at all, AR or AK. I would avoid completely any Century US-made AK. The Visca, no. RAS 47, no. C39 V2, no. American Dracos, no. A lot of people don't understand that their American Dracos are basically a RAS 47 shorter. So not at all, not good, not a good idea, not going to last you. But that would be it. Everything else, the imported rifles from Century, good to go for the most part. Yugos, good to go for the most part. Riley Defense AKs are having some hiccups, but they're not too terrible. That would be lower on the list. Not terrible guns. They're doing okay. Palmetto State Armory would be kind of top of the line US-made AKs, in my opinion. Just track record, performance, whatever with the Gen 3s. And then, obviously, everything foreign, still very solid. Most ideal would be a foreign-made AK. US-made AK, I would go with a Palmetto State. I've never shot a full auto. I used binary trigger on an AR. A lot of fun. What do you think about the difference between the two? 80s Warrior, that's a great question, man. The difference between the two. So, to be honest with you, I would say that a binary trigger is a little bit more practical because you have mint controlled 2-round bursts. Just control fire, 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 fire. I think there are some issues with some binary triggers that you are able to outrun. So be aware of that. Make sure that you're getting a solid binary option. With that being said, a lot of people like to sit there and say, oh, full auto is not practical at all. You can't shoot it at all. I disagree. I think full auto fire is completely practical, and I think that you can use it practically as well. I have shot quite a few machine guns myself, and I have yet to have a machine gun not be practical in a full auto setting when it comes to getting rounds on target. That comes down to either whether you want burst, whether you don't. I have had some machine guns that are far less controllable than others, but even guns that are less controllable, quite frankly, with proper technique, with really getting on top of that machine gun, you can control it good and move from target to target to target from transitioning with no problems. I find a lot of the folks that are like, oh, they're not practical at all, stand there totally straight up, hands tucked in like this, and they go to shoot a machine gun and it rails them up like that. Yes, if you're shooting a machine gun like that, it's not going to be practical. But if you get a good thumb over bore, you get on top of that, and you drive the machine gun target to target transitioning, it's going to be relatively practical to help lay down 3 rounds, 4 rounds, 5 rounds, whatever else on target. To this day, my favorite machine gun to shoot was a Swedish K. That Swedish K is incredible. I was literally able to hold a group at 10 yards, full auto mag dump with the Swedish K into about a 1-inch group at 10 yards. No issue at all. That thing does not move. Favorite machine gun to shoot of all time. It has a very controllable cyclet rate, so the rate of fire is more of like a pop, 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 and it's very, very easy to just get rounds on target. Pretty solid. Probably the most... just sucked in a whole bunch of dust. That's always feels great. Probably the most uncontrollable machine gun that I have ever shot in my life was a Mac 11 in 380. Oh my God. That is the only machine gun that maybe it's not too practical. I've shot a lot of machine guns, right? That was the first one that I did a mag dump in where I'm like, wow, I do not think this is practical in any way, shape, or form. Let me tell you guys my experience with a Mac 11 in 380. Okay. I've shot Mac 10s, way controllable, not bad at all. They still have a high cyclet rate. This Mac 11, right, in 380, I knew it was going to be rough. I got on top of it, right? Got on top of it, really digging down. I got the crappy little strap, right? And I got my whole mag loaded up. Locked my bolt open to the rear. Tiny little gun. It's a tiny little machine gun. Rack the bolt open to the rear. Get down. I'm getting ready to feel what it's going to feel like. Here's my experience. Get down. Squeeze that trigger back. Done. Whole mag done. It's just a massive wall of fire. I don't know what happened. I kind of got some rounds on target, some rounds not. Target's like 5 feet away. Ridiculous. Just absolutely ridiculous. Craziest rate of fire I've ever experienced in my life. Could you be somewhat practical with it? I guess, but the rate of fire is so fast. It's so hard to control. The stock sucks so badly that, yeah, that's the only machine gun that maybe it's not super practical. Let's see here. Kalishnikov USA has been promising. I've only handled the KP9 suppressed. It's legit. Yeah, absolutely. Caesar, I've heard really good things about the KP9 as well. Jay, thoughts on binary triggers? Hopefully I kind of answered that with that little segment there on machine guns. What gun are you grabbing if you hear a bump in the night at the FF compound? BC, man, that's a tough question because there are a bunch of guns ready to grab here at the FF compound. But with that being said, it depends on what I'm closest to, man. It may be my VP9, might be a Mossberg 930, might be one of my ARs. I don't know. Might be an AK. I have no idea. It depends on what I'm close to. Realistically, chances are it's probably going to be my VP9 or my Glock 42. Why do I say that? Because those are the guns that are generally within arm's reach of my person at all times. So that would more than likely be the option that gets grabbed first. So that would be probably what I grab. I've heard binary can shoot faster than auto for bursting with control. It really depends, man. It depends on the gun that the binary is in, because a lot of guns that have binaries, their full auto counterparts might have a slower rate of fire in full auto, and in that case, yes, the binary might be a little bit faster, but some guns might have a faster rate of fire full auto, and in that case, it wouldn't matter. Andrew, found a lower I bought 4 years ago in my closet, 20-inch build or 10.5 pistol. Oof. Tough call. Practical, 10.5. Get a nice little truck gun going. Cool factor, 20-inch retro build. That would be, I would say, the decision you have to make. Do you know of any good online gun good gun online marketplaces other than Gunbroker and Arms List? I use those often, but I'm curious if are others out there that I am missing. Maybe a forum. KC, it really depends. There's a lot of forums particular to your state, whatever state that you're in. I know Pennsylvania has the PFOF or something, Pennsylvania Firearms Owners something. I don't even know the name of it, but that's a forum that a lot of people use. It's really depending, but Arms List and Gunbroker are going to be the main two. PAFOA, that's what it is. Absolutely. Thank you, Griff. Shooting a full auto is better going sideways. Cut enemy in two instead of shooting overhead. Military veteran advice. There you go, man. There you go. The Swedish K just rocked gently back and forth. Amazing, especially since it's basically a tube with a bolt in it. Andrew, could not agree more, man. The Swedish K was an incredible experience. And they're not terribly expensive. They're like $8,000 for machine guns. Not too bad. I shot my SOT's Glock 18. Wasn't very practical. It was his daily carry around the shop. I mean, bold move. Let's see how that plays out for him, Cotton. I don't know. A Glock 18, same deal. Maybe not super practical, kind of all over the place, but maybe if you add a stock and a vertical grip to that, maybe it gets a little bit more practical. In a market like the current one now, how do you personally decide when to sell or trade a gun in versus keep and hold on to that, theoretically let it gain more value? Doc, great question. I think that's a tough one to answer. Let me phrase it like this. If you're looking to make money right now would be the time to sell your gun. What I would not do is I would not sell your gun if you do not have a large surplus of guns to sell. For instance, you have 8 ARs that you have built, had, whatever, that have kind of collected dust along the years. You have one that you're looking to sell. A year ago would not be the time to sell your AR. You're not going to get anywhere near what you paid for it. Right now, there's a good chance that without gouging somebody, you could sell your AR and just do well with it, get what you paid for it, right? So if you're looking to sell something like that, now would be the time. So if you're looking to make money, now would be the time. Just like the stock market, you never really know when that's going to change and when that is not going to be that way. So, I would say sooner rather than later. It all depends. When it comes to selling, if you're not looking to make money, if you don't have a large collection of firearms, now would not be the time to sell because you are not going to be able to find something easily to get back. So I think personally, if you don't have a large collection of firearms, don't sell something, because understand that if you sell it, there's a good chance you are not going to find that once again for a very long time. We have elections coming up. We don't know what the heck is going to happen. So with that being said, I think it's important to hold on to what you have right now. unless you're really trying to make some money. And if that's the case, you got to kind of play it the best way that you can. In the one bump in the night situation I had, I literally grabbed whatever was closest, ended up with my USP 40 shoved in the waistband of my sweatpants. Andrew, that's kind of how it works, I feel like, man, Thanks for the answer, Joe. You think binary triggers are in jeopardy of being banned from the ATF? 80s Warrior, everything is, man. Realistically, I don't think anything is not at risk of being looked at by the ATF and further restricted. I think binary triggers and pistol braces are hot on their list of items to take a look at. Don't hold me to that. I don't know. It just seems like that's the way it's going. So personally, I would say yes, they probably are. It's ridiculous. It should not be that way. I hope it does not go down that road. Realistically speaking, yes, they probably are. Hello, new to handguns. Recently got my carry concealed. I need help in how to start with training. What are your recommendations? Scott, first of all, welcome into the handgun community. Thank you for coming in. Secondly, from there, unfortunately, ammunition is obviously very, very hard to find. So unless you got lucky and you bought your handgun with 1,000 rounds to go along with it, I would personally say to dry fire. Find a class in your area that maybe does not require ammunition, just a educational class in a classroom. Take it, understand how to use it, and then from there, I would highly recommend getting into a dry fire training system, something like a Manus X or one of like the bullet laser training systems or something like that to practice at home. From there, possibly getting into some sort of airsoft or something like that you can practice at home to at least have a projectile coming out. I think you can learn a lot from that. You can't learn everything. You will not learn a lot of recoil control and everything like that, but you will still learn a little bit, and that's what I would recommend. Also, a lot of brand new handgun owners get really excited and they buy a box of ammo, they go to the range immediately, shoot through it entirely. Now is not the time. Buy a box of ammo, get at the bare minimum 500 rounds set aside, and don't touch it. After you get 500 rounds set aside, go to your local shops. If you find a box of ammo, that is going to be your range ammo, not your storage. Cheaper Than Dirt is a nice online location for weapons, parts, and guns. Jay, I would disagree entirely. I think Cheaper Than Dirt is garbage as a company as a whole. I think they overprice everything, and I think in the very beginning of this, they were the first ones to upcharge $900 a case for ammunition. I would never recommend somebody buy from Cheaper Than Dirt. However, it's a personal preference thing. So if you're digging Cheaper Than Dirt, you dig it, whatever. I'm just not a huge fan myself. I like to help some new gun owners with ammo. If they don't have any and can't find any, do you think I should be charging current prices or try to get closer to normal prices? It's a personal preference, man. I think if you're willing to help somebody out with ammo, help them out. Don't charge crazy high prices. If you want to throw them a box for $10 or whatever, I would probably do that. But if you're charging normal prices, as far as like $50 a box for ammo, I wouldn't even sell it to them because I think it's getting into gouging territory. KC, I'll never buy from Cheaper Than Dirt. They're awful. I would agree. Hi, moving to the U.S. in the new year, Utah State from the U.K. Very much wanting to get back into shooting sports. What would be the best way to get my skills back up to par? Thank you. Neil, first of all, welcome to the U.S., man. Thank you for coming over, and hopefully you experience a little bit more freedom than you have in the UK, but unfortunately, freedom kind of is dwindling fast here in the United States. Hopefully, we can hold it off a little bit longer. Utah is a great state for firearms, so that is pretty solid. I would say to get back into the shooting sports, The nice thing is it's a lot easier in the United States to go to a gun shop, see what they have available, go to a gun shop in your area that you're moving to in Utah, handle a bunch of guns, try them out, try to find a range with rentals, see if you can rent those firearms, try them out, and just slowly get back into it. Figure out what you want to do, how you're going about your citizenship, if you're looking at actually going to own a firearm, figuring out what is going to be the fastest way for you to gain the citizenship or visa necessary to actually buy firearms, and that is going to be helpful to you. So go from there. In the UK, firearms ownership is viewed really only in the light of sporting purposes, right? You have to be sporting about it for the most part. Obviously, from very, very small minor exceptions thrown in there, but that's very rare. So you have sporting purposes. Here in the United States, a small portion of our firearms ownership is sporting purposes, and a major portion of it is defensive purposes. Actually using those firearms in defense of yourself, defense of your home, defense against tyranny. So I think that's important to kind of know as well. Do you want to get into sporting, or do you want to get into defensive use, or really all of it, the entire industry? And asking yourself those questions can really help figure out what you want to buy when it comes to your first gun as well. And then, of course, taking classes and everything like that can help you out too. Hopefully that answered your question. I like Tombstone Tactical, Prepper Gun Shop, Brownells, Greg Coat, LLC, Botac, Impact Guns, PSA, etc. I know many other online stores. I was referring to a marketplace, a different thing. Jimmy, hello from North Carolina. Jimmy, what is up, man? Thank you for tuning in. Pretty sure I saw 380 FMJ on Cheaper Than Dirt for $2 a round. Andrew, you are right on the money, more than likely. Doc, what's the first thing that goes through your mind, automatic, unfiltered thought, when a customer asks you about a high-point pistol or carbine? Doc, first thing, here we go. They are $199 guns. So if you have to have a $199 gun, high points do somewhat work reliably from time to time. Their carbines work more reliably than their pistols. Their carbine offerings now are coming with threaded barrels. Super cool. Pretty awesome. Would love to run it suppressed. I think they are ugly as sin. The guns look disgusting. It would not be a gun that I would want to keep in my collection, or a gun that I would be proud to keep in my collection. But if I only had $230 and I needed a carbine, and that was the carbine that I needed to have, and I need it right now, that would be the option. Now, with that being said, I would much rather recommend to somebody to put a gun on layaway, because even when it comes to a gun that's $100 or $200 more, in my opinion, it would be a better option aesthetically, performance-wise, and so on. That would be my unfiltered, there you go response. Guys, just a heads up, we got about 2 minutes left, so I'm going to finish up the questions that are asked right now. And that's where I'm going to wrap it up. I'm not going to answer any more. We might do another Q&A next week. We'll see how this one goes. H1B, L1, etc., visas, 90 days, proof of living, and hunting license after green card. It's easier. Harry, absolutely. You are 100% right. Thank you, sir. Helpful information. Neil, thank you for watching, man. I really appreciate it. Think if you get a hunting license, you can buy guns even if you aren't a U.S. citizen. I double check before trying, though. I've been out of the industry for a few years and it might have changed. Andrew, you are right. With a hunting license or a work visa, you actually can purchase a firearm in the United States. People and politicians forget the Constitution was to control a corrupt government, not the people. That's why folks are talking about Civil War II in the U.S. Jay, I would agree, man. High points are bulky, large, very hard to take apart, and low capacity. Pay twice as much for something 5 times better. Casey, I would have to agree with you. Sean, 90% of the high-end guns known were on layaway. Absolutely. Absolutely. I put almost every gun that I own so far on layaway. KC, thanks, Joe. How is the subscribe star going? KC, I won't lie to you, man. It's slow starting up. I definitely like it as a platform for you guys to be able to donate on. I think we will see how it goes for the first month, maybe 2 months, and just see how everything plays out. I really want to continue it, keep it going. But if we don't get, support over there, then I don't know if it'll be necessarily worth it to continue. So we'll see how it plays out. I don't know. If you guys want to support me on Subscribestar, awesome. If you don't, I get it. No harm, no foul. That support will kind of dictate if it continues. Because obviously, if there's not a lot of support, I can't justify taking a lot of time to make content to put over on the Subscribestar, because the time, and everything like that, it just doesn't equal out that much. You guys have known since the very beginning, the Subscribestar is not an outlet that's going to have like crazy amounts of exclusive, all this stuff, content. It is really an option for you guys to just donate to the channel if you would like. There's going to be small amounts of content dripping out here and there on Subscribestar, but a bulk of the reason for Subscribestar is if you guys want to donate and you don't want to buy merch, Subscribestar is going to be the option. So it's going okay, slow to start. But not known. Absolutely, Sean. Yeah, I was thinking that's what you meant. Thanks. Looking forward to the next Q&A. Scott, hey, no problem at all, man. Hopefully we can make that maybe next week. I'm marrying a U.S. citizen, so I'll be getting a green card. I assume it will be easier once I've settled in. Neil, absolutely, man. Yes, BC. There you go, buddy. So, guys, that is going to wrap up this Q&A. We are right at about the hour mark, so I'm going to wrap it up now. Let me know down in the comments below this live stream. You guys seem to really enjoy this Q&A style format. Do you want to have a Q&A part 2 this upcoming Sunday? Let me know. I can make it happen. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more great content to come very soon here on the channel. All the links down below. Give them a follow. You guys know the deal. Thank you so much for watching. And guys, absolutely have an incredible night. Thank you for taking your time out of your day to sit here and watch these live streams and to communicate and everything like that. I really, really appreciate it. Can't tell you guys how much motivation that gives me to continue on from the channel. So, yeah, man. Guys, have a great night.